Anywho, I knew that me losing my best friend and she basically played the role of my mother and father whenever my mom worked so much. She was constantly at work or school. My dad was they had so much friction and stuff that a lot of times I wouldn't see him for a couple months at a time, or we'd have supervised visits based on their issues. Now, I had mommy issues because I grew up in um, an abusive home, mentally, physically, no sexual, thankfully. And I had daddy issues because he wasn't in the home, and there was a lot of stuff going. A lot of parents, whenever they go back and forth, they make it so much about that a lot of times the kids lose out. And with those issues, she was my best friend always. So, like I said, I started bracing myself for those stages of grief for the loss that I knew was coming. I went through a funk. I started losing a lot of weight. I was basically waking up drinking and going to sleep drinking and not eating right and not doing a lot of anything, but just being bitter and angry and depressed. And thankfully, I figured out a way not to take that out on the kids. Um, I actually kept a lot of the neighborhood kids around me so that I wouldn't fall so deep into a funk. But um, I started kind of dying with her. And instead of doing that, I tried to at least keep up with my reading and things like that. So we finally lost her um, on Thanksgiving of all days, a couple years ago. And I started to do a lot of research because I realized that I lost out on a lot of time to actually question her about our family in Mexico, the ones that were still in Mexico or the ones that are here in Texas. And um, I wanted to know, because I seen how hard it was looking up old slave records and things on the African side. I knew how difficult it would be with us being displaced so much and being just property and people not giving us any more than just biblical names. Um, Little did I know it was going to be the same exact thing on that side. I didn't even know, I was so ignorant to everything that I didn't even know that the Mexicans were actually the Native Americans. I I was one of those people that thought Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Brazilians were all different people, that they weren't actually just displaced slaves in different countries mixing with the natives or the rapists, the Europeans, I call them. I started speaking about it a lot on social media, just speaking about the things that the indigenous population went through here in Central America and the Africans and how similar that was. And I noticed a lot of animosity towards white people that were on my page popping up saying, "So what are you trying to say? This is our fault? What are you trying to say here?" I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just posting about what I'm researching so that other people can learn along the way while I'm doing it. This is my way of dealing with my grief and my loss and everything going on. And I started noticing a lot more that more and more white people were deleting me or calling me racist when I wasn't even mentioning white people at all. So, me being me, Petty Ray, I said, fine. If you bitches think that everything's about you, I'm gonna fucking make it about you. So I started researching white history in America, and everything kind of just made a lot more sense. And I haven't looked back since because the anger is real, the emotion is real, the the bitterness, the brokenness, the sadness, all of these emotions that you feel about the loss of your best friend or a loved one or family member, whatever, it's all just as painful as realizing